It's important. Here we go. All right. So whatever I just said about everything else. Okay. So now I have to go to my downloads. Sorry. So go to downloads and then you open the download. Is that it? Yes. Okay. We're back. All right. So let's say, Pam, you want to have a conversation with your son and you say, there's something I want to discuss with you. Is now a good time? And because often we don't do that. We just start, and with your sister too, Kathy, or whoever we're talking, the other person, I'm talking to all of you about, if you want to talk to somebody about it, make sure it's a good time because they could be busy, they could be hassled. So give them that respect. And if not, they'll pick another time. And you would learn to say something like, when you yell at me, I feel hurt and sad. Because the exiled words that we're using from our self and part sheet are hurt, sad, scared. Okay, use those 3 words. Anything else is going to sound like a judgment. I feel neglected. I feel disrespected. I feel abandoned. I feel misjudged. Those ED words make them perpetrators in their mind, and they're already fact checking. Okay, but if you use the exiled words hurt, sad, and scared from that chart I gave you, they can't argue with it. That's your feeling. And in a perfect world, they would say, I hear you say that when I yell at you, you feel sad and hurt. Is that true? Is that right? And you would say yes. And then if they were in the course with me, I'd have them say, I understand that when I yell, you feel hurt and sad. And I'd ask, do you really understand it? Because what we miss when we're apologizing to someone is we say, okay, I hurt you. Now I'm sorry. But reflecting back, I understand is helpful. And then they would say, in a perfect world, I'm sorry. I don't want you to feel that way. I want to learn a new way for us to communicate. And I'm sorry. And you would say, thank you. In the future, I would like you never to yell again, which they will say, I'll try not to, but sometimes I will, or you'll negotiate. Okay. But just changing the other direction, Pam, because your son doesn't know this. Let's say I have something to talk with you. Is now a good time? And you could say something like, when I offer you advice, I see you get upset and I wonder if I've hurt you in some way. And you could change it to, I see that you're upset. I understand that you're upset and I'm sorry. I don't want you to feel that way. I want to learn a new way for us to communicate and I'm sorry. And then he might say, don't ever give me advice again. And you could say, well, I don't know if I can do that. I'm your mother, but is there a better way that we can have this conversation? What do you want me to do? If I see something that I think would be helpful, please help me convey it to you or not in whatever way feels right. Do you see how that works? I'm doing this really fast, but do you get the idea?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Same thing, Kathy, with your sister. I notice, sister, I have something to talk with you. Is now a good time? I notice when I give you my opinion, you get upset. Is that right? And I understand that something I'm doing is triggering you. And I'm sorry. I don't want you to feel that way. I want to learn a new way. And I'm sorry. And then she might say, don't ever give me advice again. And you can again say, I love you. Sometimes I'm just giving your opinion. Is there some way I can learn to do it where we can just have a conversation and see if that makes a shift? Does that make sense? Again, I'm doing this fast, but you get the idea. Susanna, you're talking to your daughter, right? I have something to discuss with you. Is now a good time? I notice that when we talk sometime, there's friction between us, and I know something's going on with you. And I understand that whatever I'm doing is causing you to feel, pick a word. She may not acknowledge. People usually don't acknowledge that they're sad, hurt, or scared. So sometimes you just have to acknowledge, I know you're upset. And I'm sorry, I don't want you to be upset when we're talking. I want to learn a way for us to communicate. And I'm sorry. And she could say, thank you. Quit trying to ruin my life. And you could say, I don't want to do that. But I am curious, because that's a self word. I am curious as to how I can best support you in a way that you know how much I love you, rather than the dynamic we're currently living with. Does that make sense? Cool. All right. And Kathy, you were talking to your son. Is that who you said? Yes. Something like that. Well, we've covered
Yes.
part. But you get the idea, right? I notice that when we're having conversations, you get, and what does he get? Give me a word. Defensive, aggressive.
It's like he's wants to hide.
Sorry, what was your name again?
Yeah. So I notice when I start to talk to you sometime, it looks like you want to run away. And I understand that you want to do that. And I'm sorry for whatever I'm doing that's making you want to run away. Because I really would like us to communicate, you know, and I'd love for you to let me know what I could change. You know, I'm sorry if whatever I'm doing is making you feel ill. And again, you've shown empathy for whatever their reality is to open a dialogue where you can both change the beliefs you have about each other and what's supposed to be different. So does that make sense? I'll send you that.
Thank you. That's helpful.
Jesse,
just to hear it out loud.
Yeah, and Jesse, I want to do yours too. Who was yours with? I don't think you told me who it was with.
The conflict.
Yeah.
My spouse.
Your spouse. Great.
But my question was like, when you get to the I'm curious part, what would you suggest if there isn't anything that they can provide in that instance of like, I'm curious how I can do X, Y, and Z, and they're like, just stop, or like something like that, or like there's nothing that you can do, or like you're not getting an alternative anything. Like what would you suggest in those scenarios?
All right. To the extent that you want to be a little more specific, so I can help you more specifically, you want to give me a quick example? When I do this, when I say this is his response. Or the last time it happened. There's your cue.
I think just in general. So like when I ask for feedback, it's like I ask of like, if you're gonna say something that you don't want me to do, I ask that you also give me an alternative of something that you have thought about that you would like me to do. But that's where it comes in of like, that's where it's asking too much, and so it's almost like I just need to stop, but I don't know what to do.
Give me a minimal example of when the last time that happened, where he was criticizing you or judging you or making a request. So give me a for instance, if you would.
So we have a toddler, so our house is messy constantly. We're always cleaning up. Right. So there was like she has like a little tower in the kitchen where she likes to stand and eat. So it typically gets crumbs underneath. And so I'm home with her all day. I clean up all day, and then he comes home after work. And so he was cleaning it up, and he's like, "Oh, this is so annoying. I hate cleaning this up." And I was like, "Oh yeah, like I agree with that. Like I was gonna put a mat down, like one of her eating mats, so that like we could just bundle it up, throw it away." And he's like, "Why do you always try to solve my problems?" Yeah.
Great. So what if, just hypothetically, you go immediately, instead of fix it, you go just to empathy, which is, oh, I see how frustrating that is. I understand. And I'm, sorry for both of us that it's something like that. So you're just being with what is with an open heart. But I think you hear it as a criticism. Are you hearing it as a criticism of you?
His response?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what if you didn't? And again, there may be a history where he's been critical of you, and every time he starts to talk to you, you're hearing it that way, and then you get defensive, and then you ask him for something he's not doing in the moment, he's just venting. So what if you took care of your critical part, your hurt part, and let her know she didn't do anything wrong? You're here. And you just stay present with the parts of him that are just looking for some empathy, just looking for some understanding.
I guess I struggle because of the history in that relationship and his lack of wanting empathy from me. Like he hates when I say I understand. He's like, you're not me, you don't understand. And so it's I have no idea how to relate, validate any of those things.
Great. Well, next week we'll talk about unburdening. And that also brings up the idea that anyone who wants to have a private session with me, we can still do the 30 minutes for it's $100 while this class is going on and the week after. So if anybody is triggered or would just like some more time, let me know and we'll schedule something. Jesse got the session, so you and I will talk about that, Jesse, in that session, and we'll talk about it, you know, as much as you want moving forward. And again, with whatever you all bring to this, I want to offer as much feedback as I can. And many times you're speaking for all of us, because there are many times where people's reactions to us are their stuff and their story and their limiting beliefs. And then we have to start talking about our feelings. So rather than figure out how you could change him, Jesse, in this, you know, in this example, you could say, you know, when you get upset with me that way, I feel hurt. And he may not care, he may be curious, but at least you've said how you're feeling in that moment, and you're not trying to fix it if he's telling you I don't want it to be fixed. So sometimes just learning how to speak for our feelings without needing to manage the situation creates a change in the dynamics. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So I wanted to mention a couple things. I created this higher self card deck. I'm just looking at the times. We have a couple minutes to do this. Before I go there, any other things that are coming up for you about anything that's been said that feels like, gee, I wish we could talk about that for just a couple more minutes? Anybody? We're all kind of complete for that? Great, because I'm going to stop this recording. Stop.